All right, we're live. Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Today we're doing Sunday comics with a guest. This is my coworker Tony Dimes. How you doing, Tony?
I'm excellent, John. Thanks for having me
Ooh,
on.
ooh, ooh, excellent. You got your coffee? It's almost like a
Uh,
prerequisite.
we're
Oh,
in
nice.
there.
All right, very good.
hmm We're in there.
How do you like your coffee? What do you use? As I
Uh,
spill coffee all over my leg.
just sugar and only a little bit of sugar. I used to put milk in the
Oh,
coffee, but
you're a real construction worker.
oh, come on. Exactly. Exactly. There's never any milk around, and the kid always messes it up. So I'm just
Yeah,
like,
when I
just
was an
black, please.
apprentice,
Black.
I remember my brother driving me into work, and he was like, "Go get me coffee, black." I was like, "I'm not drinking that." You know, I
It's
got,
an acquired taste, but
I know. I got. Is my coffee station? Oh, I'm turning the camera, and I realize it's not facing around. Okay, so let's talk about the comic. So Tony was asking me about a Silver Surfer Requiem, and you know what's weird is that came out in 2007. I had to look it up,
yeah.
and I never got it. In 2007, I was full on buying way too many comics. So I was like, "What?" And I love the Silver Surfer. So I don't know why I missed it. And I think it was because it's like a like an Elseworld story, you know. And
Yeah.
I think I was like tired of Elseworld stories, but you know,
It's like a what if almost, like a one off.
yeah. And you know, at the risk of, well, not the risk of being a spoiler. Here's a spoiler. I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was is a 4 issue series, and Tony said we'll talk about it Sunday, and I was like, all right, I'll read it Saturday night. I picked up, took it out of the bags, and looked at it, and I read it all in one sitting. You know, I'm a
hmm
very slow reader, so I sat there, read 4 comics in like, I don't know, two
Yeah.
hours, not even. It was awesome.
Same with me. I digest the artwork. My wife, when she reads comics, like she breezed through the Walking Dead compendium in like no time at all. I'm like,
Oh,
are you looking at the artwork? I'm like, I digest everything about it, so it takes me a while. I'll just stare at a panel and just stare at it until I get, the words are just 50% of the story for me.
yeah, yeah, words and pictures. I read somewhere that the Pentagon did a study, and they, you know, and this was like the 70s, or no. What am I talking about? This was during World War II.
Hmm.
Jeez, that how to the best how not to how not the best way to convey information, but how is the best way for a human being to retain information. And they realized that it was a combination of words and pictures, which is comic books. and
Makes
and then
sense.
they hired like people like Will Eisner and my name's escaping me, to make manuals for the military. You know, everybody was reading comp. So Will Eisner was like hired to write a PS magazine. It was a military magazine that showed you how to load trucks, how to clean your weapons, you know, what to do when you get to other countries. And you know, this, and I got to agree. I'm sure you could agree with me. You can remember comic books from first grade, but you can't remember like your directions that you were given by your foreman yesterday.
100%, 100%. I'm the same with song lyrics too. It's like I can remember the song lyrics from a song from like 86, 96. But ask me what I did before coffee break. I'm like, where were we?
Yep,
Did we
yep.
have Kindle?
Yep. You know, there's something about comic books that they say it's because the word. I'm sure I'm going to get the hemispheres wrong, but the words affect one hemisphere of your brain, and the artwork affects the other
Yeah.
whereas if you read, it's only one hemisphere, and if you listen, it's only one hemisphere. But
hmm
comic books does both. I don't know. I'm not going to argue with the Pentagon. You know. Plus,
You're
I'm not
fighting a
going to argue
losing
with
battle.
anything that supports comic books.
Exactly.
So, your wife reads comics also.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We're a big happy comic reading family. We
Oh,
got we got we got engaged at San Diego Comic Con. I was
yes,
dressed
I
as
remember.
Captain
I
Kirk.
remember you showed me that picture. I
Yeah,
was all impressed. And you were dressed like Star Trek too, right?
yeah, yeah. I was dressed as Captain Kirk. She was sexy Spock. She had the Starfleet uniform
Oh,
altered so
that's
it could show.
redundant. Sexy Spock
Yeah,
is redundant.
exactly. Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
I remember the first time talking to female Star Trek fans, which, believe it or not, took a long time. This, I'm talking like before the Next Generation. You know, that's how old I
Mhm.
am. And I remember they were all saying how sexy Spock was, and it was like they hit me in the face with a brick, because like I love Spock, but you know, I guess I never heard a woman say that anybody on Star Trek was sexy before. So
And it's surprising it's not Kirk because Kirk's in his
right,
feelings. Spock is just steady Eddie. You know what I mean? They need that.
here I'm gonna show something off, because this Tony was the only person to see this, to get this. Okay, here, this is my basement. I got these three poles over here. You see? I'll stand up. So I got this gold pole, the blue pole, and down there you can see the red pole. And
Hmm.
I took a picture of my basement and I put it online. And Tony was like, "Hey, Star Trek."
Immediately, immediately,
Immediately.
you
Everybody
know.
else was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool. Like, I guess it brings out color." I'm like, "You have no idea why I did that." I was like,
Right, right. You can't put the pieces together.
"Right." Everybody. It's funny because the closest other people got was Superman, and I'm like, "Okay, I can see. Superman's got the blue suit, he's got the
The
red cape,
yellow.
and then he's got the yellow belt." So I was like, "Okay, I'll buy Superman." Right away, Tony was just like, "Oh, Star Trek." I was like, "Yep."
See,
I got gold
like
right
mine.
by me because that's where I said I'm the commander.
See, listen. I remember we were talking about starting a comic club in the local. We were going to
Yeah,
take over. We were going to take over the Futurians, and
my
we were going to start a comic club. I think we should still do it.
my little brother teases me. He's like, "Hey, you should start a comic book D&D nerd club for our union that we belong to." And my older brother, who's an officer in the union, he was quiet. He doesn't talk much, and
Yeah.
he's in charge of all the biker guys. He's the president of the biker club. All cool and quiet, and he just whispers, "It would be the biggest club in the local."
It would be. Everybody would love it. Everybody, please, we should definitely do it.
The little fight. I'm not going to mention names, but I was working, and of course, I'm always getting teased for comic books and stuff. I used to wear like superhero T-shirts to work. I toned it down a little bit, but so I'm doing. Yeah, we're sitting around a coffee break, and guys are busting my chops. So you can dress up like Spider-Man. You can, and I just was like, and the guy who's making fun of me is wearing Terry. What's his name? Manning, like the football. See, that's how much of a
Oh
nerd I am.
yeah, 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 yeah.
He's wearing a Manning sports jersey, and I'm just like, well, what's the difference between me dressed up as Spider-Man, which I don't do, by the way? But what's the difference is me dressed up as Spider-Man and you wearing this sports memorabilia? I said, you're a big fat guy. You're not on a football team. This
Right.
guy doesn't know you. You're cosplaying just as much as you're making fun of me cosplaying.
You know, what did they say in Bronx Tale? If your father can't pay the rent, you think Mickey Mantle would care? You think Mickey Mantle's gonna help your father?
Good
No.
luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
So
better off. You're better off asking Superman.
and then another guy starts going up, and he's got the vest with the patches on it for motorcycle. I'm like,
Oh
and
yeah.
look at you. I go, look at you, pretending to be a tough guy. I said,
Right.
I said, you're not a Hell's Angel. You're cosplaying as a biker.
Right.
Get your wife's permission to go to the club meeting.
You're right.
I
You're on
said,
the shoes of docksiders. What are you
yeah.
talking about?
If that was showed up on your block, you'd be calling the cops. Looking out the
Right.
two shutters. They were all like laughing, and the one guy was all quiet, and he's the president of the bike club, and he calls me over. He goes, "Notice I didn't make fun of you." I was like, "Yeah, I know." And he opens up his phone, and it's him dressed as a full-on Roman soldier with the crest, sword,
Yeah.
metal armor. He goes, "This is what he does on the weekends." Did you know that there's a Roman Legion reenactment society?
I did not. I knew there was Civil War and things
Right.
like that.
One of
Roman.
my
That's
dad's buddies
crazy.
was a big Civil War reenactor, but I had no idea that there's a Roman Legion reenact. And he's like, I was in it for 10 years because now he's the standard bearer. He's like, you don't get to be the standard bearer unless if you're a casual. You
Is
know,
it all of it or just the fighting? Do they do like the orgies and vomitariums and stuff? Do they
I
eat
never asked.
grapes and cheese all day and get
Yeah,
fanned with
yeah,
fanned with ostrich feathers?
they go out and they fight blue-eyed, blonde-haired elf.
Right, right. Chariot driving.
Yeah,
Exactly.
well, he's a big guy. I wouldn't fight with him anyway.
Yeah.
But I just have to laugh. Every the point to this whole roundabout story is everybody's a geek. And
Yeah. Passion.
I define a geek as somebody who's super into something. Like a spaz is somebody who's uncoordinated, but a geek, like a, I worked with a guy who collected electrical code books. He had
Hmm.
electrical code books every year since the electrical code was developed, and he collected them. He knew them. This guy was a walking code. So I was like, "You're a code book geek," and he got mad at me until I explained what I talked to when I was. But you know what I mean? Everybody's a geek about something, or at least everybody should be. If you're
There are
not a
people
geek,
that are like Brazilian jiu-jitsu geeks that
yes,
like study everything down to the last motion and understand everything and they're geeks about it.
Yep.
You get to tell that guy, Hoist Gracie, that he's a geek? No. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll preface what I mean by geek first.
Right, exactly. Don't hurt me, but
Yeah,
you're a
like
wrestling geek.
I work with guys that make their own wine, and these guys, for fascinated, they could talk about wine for hours. And even though I know nothing about it, I get really pulled into people's conversations when they talk about their hobbies and their passions. A guy down the block from me, one of my friend's fathers, I had seen him in years, and he called me over. We were sitting, and his wife was talking, and I noticed these little ceramic, they look like glass bells on his
Hmm.
fireplace. And I was like, what are those? And all of a sudden he lit up. Turns they're insulators, up on a telephone pole with the wires wrapped around
Right.
them.
Hmm.
Nowadays they're made out of like high density rubber, but back then they were ceramic. And some of them were red, some of them were blue, some of them were green, and he went on telling me about what years the blues were made, what years the yellows were made, and him and his sons would go upstate and find decommissioned telephone poles still up and climb up and unscrew them. And I was like, and then I went on eBay and people are selling these things. They're all over the place.
Love
I,
it.
I was
Yeah.
fascinated. Something I didn't even know existed. And now this is like 15 years later. I'm still talking about it.
Yeah. Passion, man.
Yeah,
It's a
I
big thing.
love it. Yeah, and one of my buddies is into fantasy football, and I
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, and these guys are like when you go to his house during fantasy football draft, it's like I say there's no difference
Yeah.
this at a Dungeons and Dragons game. I said you're all pretending to be something. I said
Right. You'd swear he's an owner. Oh, my guy got hurt. Like, what are you
yeah,
talking about?
that's what he'll say to me. Like we go to lunch, he's like, oh, one of my guys pulled his tendon. I'm like, well, your guys.
Right. Right.
And
Your
I'm like,
guys.
yeah, I know. Captain America lost his shield into the ocean, and he has to get named. I said, we're talking about the same thing here.
Exactly. My guy's been trapped in a block of ice for 70 years.
My guy, yeah.
Yeah, man. This passion. It's what it is. The key
Listen,
to key to
fantasy
life.
football is it's just fantasy role playing for people who can't fight dragons and can't play football.
That's all. Can't wrap their brain around it.
Now you got me laughing so hard I'm coughing. What's
Yeah.
on your shirt? I can't even see.
Oh, this is the old Bill Bixby like
Oh no,
Obama poster.
yeah, you wouldn't like
When
me when
he
I'm angry. Oh, change it says.
yeah, like, he used to walk around with the change poster, so the Bill
Yeah,
Bixby appropriated it. It's
awesome. Yeah,
perfect.
I got my wolf and bat. Got my wolf and Batsy shirt.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right, so I'm gonna flip my camera over to the cop. Oh, Pete's here. How's it going? Awesome shirt. So good, Pete. We look good. We sound good. Well, I know we look good, but okay. Yep, the great shirt. That's a all right. Pete is a buddy of mine. He's the first person I ever went live with. We were testing out the channel, see what I could do, and Pete did a wonderful hit it out of the park talking about Frank Miller's Daredevil. All right,
Nice.
so we ready? I'm gonna flip the camera around.
Go for it.
All right, and we're gonna talk about Silver Surfer Requiem. How's that? Okay. A little bit of glare on the. I got lights right above me, but this is like what's a glossy cover. So, good. I talked for 13 minutes. Go ahead, Tony.
Oh, I think that this is, first of all, I am a huge fan of Galactus and Silver Surfer, and like, see right here, I got my Galactus #1 over here, and
Oh,
I got
Jack Kirby, Terry Austin. I love that.
yeah, and I know, and you've been changing my mind. Hold on, I got
Okay,
right here.
I've been changing his mind.
Yeah, I got my Fantastic Four over here, first appearance of Galactus,
Nice.
but the you've been changing my mind about the CGC, man. Like when I first started collecting, I was like, oh, I need these. I need the wall hangers. Like I need my holy grail. Like I got 181 over there. I got the Wolverine #1 signed by Chris Claremont, and it's just I want to crack them open, and I feel like I'm pickling them for some reason now.
Right. They're not comic books.
No, they're
You
baseball
might as well
cards
have
now.
plastic prints. Now I understand. I believe it or not, I got into an argument with my cousin, and he no longer speaks to me. That's how heated it got
Wow.
about like that's ruining the comp because it's rich people buying investment stuff and putting poor comic book people like the only Werewolf by Night I'm missing is the first appearance of Moon Knight, and I can't afford that right now. You know,
Right.
and people who'd never heard of Moon Knight until this TV show came out, or slabbing them, putting them on the shelves. They're not reading them. You know,
Yep.
you can't look at the letters page. You don't look at the ads. This is all part of comic book culture.
100%.
You know, like you're younger than me, so I don't know if you've seen the ads, but you buy back issues like the old Sea Monkeys.
Of
You know,
course.
the old,
Yeah.
Hero of the Beach, Charles Atlas. That's part of comics.
I've been collecting since like 86, so 87. So,
Oh, you've been getting, yeah. So that's when
yeah.
I was already hardcore into it, but that's when I started making my own money, so I could collect whatever I wanted. Um, the letters page. I forget exactly what issue it was, but in Marvel Comics, Marvel 2-in-1, it was the Thing and Black Goliath teamed up against some nonsense guy, and the
Mhm.
letters page sparked a debate. Like, how come all the black superheroes are always called Black Goliath? I
Right. And then they
understand
changed his name to Goliath.
they changed it, yeah, and it was like a 6-month debate in the letters page. Which you know, if you get that collected to trade paperback, you're not going to get it. If you slab it, you're never going to see. Which I thought was, you know, Stan Lee weighed in on it and was talking. It was like a big
Yeah.
deal. Yeah, so that's the kind of stuff that you miss when you. I keep toying with the idea of, because I got slabbed comics every once in a while. I'll buy on eBay and I don't pay attention, and it
Hmm.
shows up slabbed. I'm like, oh my god. That
Yeah.
I joked that I'm going to open one up on a video.
I
Just
will say that some Grail items should be like my 181 over there. Like that was my wedding gift. On my wedding night, my wife gives me the 181. She's like, "Here." I'm like, I'm like, it's a sign from God. I married the right one. Anyway, I wouldn't open that. I feel like that's too much of
well devalue.
yeah, that's too
Yeah,
much of a
I
staple. Too much
yeah,
of a
I'm
like.
not
I don't
hardcore.
even want light to hit it. Like I'm trying to get like
That's another thing.
you.
You're going to put it on display, and then the cover's going to get faded. You know,
Right.
you know, you know. Like I went to a comic book store and I can't remember the town, but it was in New York, and the guy had wonderful comics just ringing like festooned around his store, but they were all light damaged. And I said
Yeah.
to the guy, I said, "Why would I buy these? These are all damaged." And he goes, "Well, get out of my." I was like, "All right, I'll get out of your store, but what you got a color printer? Print.
Right. Yeah.
Put the piece of paper in front in the bag so that the comic behind it is in good shape." You
I
know,
remember you saying that like years ago when we were at City Field. You were like, "That's what you should do." I'm like, "That's a fucking that's a brilliant idea right
yeah,
there."
you know what I mean. I understand you want to show off your comic, and a lot of it is impulse buy. You know,
Hmm.
so do that. Or just put up the pictures and have a drawer and pull them out of the drawer. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
The light damage destroys these comics.
Yeah. But back to Galactus. I'm sorry to
Yeah,
take you off
back
on
to
a tangent.
yeah. I'm
I I'm a big fan of just the idea of Galactus. You know how like he's seen as different bodies from different species. You know, you see him as you perceive what
yeah,
he would look
totally
like.
respected that Fantastic Four 162 with the trial of Reed Richards. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm into the theme here.
Yeah, yeah. And so when I heard that Requiem was out, I was just like, oh, let me check this out. And then, I don't want to give away spoilers until you get into the book, but when it was over, I was like, this has to be a one-off. I'm like, what just happened here? I'm like, this is crazy. But and it runs with the theme that you usually talk about when a writer, you could tell what the writer's going through and what they're watching and what they're living by the content of their books. And I'm sure that someone close to it's escaping me now, who wrote this book.
Uh,
But
Michael's, I can't pronounce his name. Straczynski.
yeah. Yeah, that's probably why I never remembered it because I couldn't say it.
Yeah,
But
yeah, if I can't
I,
pronounce the name, it's hard to remember.
I feel like this might have happened to him in life, and he had to put it into a way that he could digest. You know what I mean? Put it into a medium that it's like this is how I'm going to work this through, and process this. And it's real. It's a real thing. Like even the most mightiest, and even have their time. And it's
Well, spoil. It's about the death of the Silver Surfer. For those who don't know what we're talking about, and I think around 2005, I said in a couple of videos, I started getting annoyed with like the lack of continuity in DC and
mhm,
DC in Marvel DC.
Marvel.
But I think that might be why I didn't get this. I think it might have been a protest. Like enough with the Elseworlds, enough with the I'm sticking with straight, because I actively avoided the Ultimate line. I don't have any
Yeah.
Ultimate comics because I've been collecting almost from day one of Marvel. So I got too much. And RJ from the Fourth Age said when they did the Heroes Reborn, he noped out of Marvel altogether. You know,
Yeah.
and that's the way a hardcore. I always say OCD. Like, I don't want to self-diagnose. You know, we're kind of like Tony. You got your comics lined up, and
Yeah.
and boxes alphabet. So when they change continuity, it annoys the long timers. So I'm
Hmm.
thinking that's why I didn't get this. But I also didn't know what it was about when it came out. You know what I mean? So I don't know why I missed this. But
Yeah.
but now I can handle it. I can handle it. So let's talk about the credits for. So we got Straczynski. He did Babylon 5. He was the main. I think he was the showrunner of that show, Babylon 5. Believe it or not, yeah, Babylon 5 was the name of the show. I never watched it. You know, now that there's a writer strike and I can go back and watch good. I hope this writer strike lasts forever. But I'm gonna go back and watch some
Catch up.
like a Farscape, Babylon 5. Watch all that stuff that I never watched. But anyway, he wrote that. He also wrote a comic book called Rising Stars. Have you read that?
No, I haven't.
No, it was really good. The premise, a short version of Rising Stars, then we'll get into this. Rising Stars was there was a town, there was a shooting star, boom, hit, exploded above this town, exploded above America rather, and any child that was in utero at that time got superpowers. So the
Mm.
government collected all of the right, they called them the Rising Stars, and put them like in a, it was camp, but it was concentration camp. And as the kids developed powers, they would train them and then use them for specific purposes. And one kid tripped and flew, so it was funny. All the other kids were jumping off their roofs because they all thought they could fly. They all had different powers. It was kind of funny. One guy became invulnerable, so they gave him a football scholarship, and he went on to become but he was terrible. They
Mm.
would tackle him and he wouldn't get hurt, but he wasn't faster, he wasn't stronger. It was like a nice logical explanation. So I really do like his and then the kicker was when one guy died, their power would get dispersed among everybody else, so they would get more and more power. So one of them was a serial killer killing all the Rising Stars. So
Mm.
it's a good story. But so I'm a fan of his. So I'm really in my. And then the art, Ribic, I can't remember his first name. This guy is phenomenal, and at
Yeah,
that level,
brilliant.
this horrible ad over here, and then look at this splash page. Okay, I talk too much, Tony. Go ahead.
I can, yeah, no, man, go for it. I love listening to you talk about comics. That's why I tune into the show. I just think the artwork is terrific. What is that, a nebula back there to show the
Yeah,
grand
Esad Ribic is the artist. Oh, let's go to the credits down here. So we got J. Michael Straczynski, Esad Ribic. Uh, this is like a coloring studio. Around this point, a lettering studio, a coloring studio. I don't know all the studios. It's not like an individual anymore. They would
Hmm.
hire out a subcontract. But this is Joe Quesada is the editor in chief, and I got to say I have a love hate with Joe Quesada. He pulled Marvel out of bankruptcy. He started this Marvel Knights line, and his philosophy was let's get the top talents and top artists working together. You know, brilliant. So even a child, and then he went and like hired some of the worst people to destroy Marvel to the point where Marvel did so bad they kicked them out. So there you go.
Mm.
All right, look at this. All right, go ahead. I'm talking too much.
Go for it, man.
He's kicking in.
It,
So we got the Silver Surfer flying through a nebula over here. This is 2007. There's really no indicia in this. It's probably going to be in the back. And I've said this a million times with the Silver Surfer that he's the biggest drama queen in comics. Like he's always, oh my life,
yeah.
my heart, existential angst. That's his superpower. And he's just witnessing all these and what's happening. He's getting hurt. He's getting hurt by he's flying into like a meteor swarm, and he's feeling pain, which he never
I,
felt before.
I mean, it helped Reed Richards. I mean, I don't understand why it's killing this guy.
So,
Yeah, he could have gotten double the superpowers.
yep. Did you speaking of the Heroes Reborn? Did you read any of that stuff? Yeah,
No, no, I tapped out by then.
yeah. It was terrible. It was terrible. But that was why the Fantastic Four they went up to investigate Galactus arrival, and that's what triggered off their superpowers. I just like that they tied it all together. But like the Mole Man got his from pre-galactic. They tied
Hmm.
it all together. But man, just like everything with Image, they can never pull out an ending. Never.
Yeah.
So Silver Surfer, the funny little Silver Surfer story. And then I'll let Tony talk, and I keep saying that and then interrupting him. But
No, no, go for it, man.
I was working in college. I was working in a bar in Albuquerque, and this super hot, sexy cocktail waitress sees me reading a comic book. I'm working as a grill cook, and it was dead. It was a Sunday, so I'm sitting there reading a comic and she's like, "Oh, the Silver Surfer! I know the Silver Surfer." And then she says the worst thing in the world. My boyfriend likes the Silver Surfer. I'm
Right.
like, okay, yeah. And she goes,
Just in case she wanted to kill the conversation
yeah.
immediately.
I was like, oh, I got work to do. And I go, yeah, it's the continuing adventures of Jesus. And then she just looked at me. I'm like, he gave his life for his planet. Galactus is supposed to be God. It's an Old Testament destructive God.
Hmm.
Norman Rad goes up to him and begs forgiveness for his world and offers himself and redeems the world and saves us. And then flies through the rest of the world complaining. And she was like, okay. And I never spoke to Heather again.
Nice. Ideology, you know?
Well, it was a little bit too much. She's just like, oh, yeah, he flies and shoots laser beams.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the power cosmic it seems a little bit convenient at times,
Well,
you
it's
know.
plot power. It's what it is.
Yeah,
But you know what? I'll buy it for the Silver Surfer. You know,
definitely.
yeah. So people always ask, what is his power? And I'm like, well, what do you need him to do to finish a story?
Power cosmic. Yep.
Yep. There he's going to the Baxter building, and this right on this page is where I started to really like this comic. Like he gets the Fantastic Four. The Thing is being the workhorse doing everything. Reed Richards being aloof, and then I love this. He goes, you could you could you
Yeah, I got
send it over here by the electrolysis? He's like, what? He goes, the red machine with the green machine with the flashy red lights. He's like, got it. And I just
it.
started laughing, you know. And then you could see Reed slightly older, so that's when I started realizing it was in the future. And then Norrin Rad shows up. Look at that page.
Hmm.
It's almost like every panel could be expanded and made a poster. Look at this.
Yeah.
I love this is just great comics. We got the worm's eye view over here. It's showing how powerful the Silver Surfer is. Like this everybody in the Fantastic Four is like, this is going to be awesome or this is going to be bad. There's
Right.
in between.
The
You know,
gravity of the Silver Surfer just floating up
right,
to the side of your building. You could be the Fantastic Four, and you know that this is going to be
right.
something.
There was like Chuck Dixon always said there was oh crap villains. Like when
Hmm.
Doctor Doom showed up in a Fantastic Four comic, you were like, oh crap, this is going to be epic. When Galactus showed up, it's supposed to be not just oh crap, but it's oh bag of craps.
Right.
And I think that Marvel just been doing him dirty lately. Like, he's kind of like a jobber now, to make a wrestling analogy. Like Galactus is getting like beat by like the writer's new
I
creation.
mean, what
You know,
what Thor just did to him upset the heck out of me. I was just like, when I saw, all right, he's passing around the Herald magic from Herald to Herald to Herald. I get it. You can't stay Norrin Rad forever. But as soon as Thor got the power cosmic, it was just like, all right, look, you're already a Norse god. You know what I mean? Now you have the power cosmic, and he killed Galactus. Nobody ever stays dead.
right?
So obviously Galactus is coming back. But what is this? Galactus predates the Big Bang, and you're killing him. Like,
Right.
come on, enough with the convenience.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. They're making all the guys jobbers.
Yeah,
I'm sure Squirrel Girl beat Galactus and
it's
Miss Marvel. I'm sure. But I wouldn't know. I noped out a
like
2000.
he's not the Watcher. He's not Watu. He doesn't stay. Like he's a world consumer. You know
So,
what I mean?
who
And
wins? The
I was
Watch.
actually so proud of my son the other day. My son, he's 6, and I've been teaching him the ways, of our life. And he comes up to me and he's just like, Daddy, he's like, who would win in a fight, Galactus or Ego? And I was just like, oh,
They
come here, come here, come here. I gave him the biggest hug in the world. I was just like, that's my boy. That is my boy. I couldn't even answer the question. I think
over
Galactus.
here to my coffee station to refill.
Yeah, in my mind, I think Galactus would beat Ego, but I mean,
Galactus would consume Ego.
right,
There's
right.
no doubt in my mind because
Hmm.
because Galactus ego. Here's my nerd thinking. Ego evolved naturally through, unless they show otherwise. He's like a natural, organic being of the universe,
Hmm.
powerful. But Galactus is like a beyond. You know, Galactus
Exactly.
Galactus is like a Cthulhu level threat. So Galactus wins. Plus, he's a planet. He's just like a meal that he's got to chase for a little bit first.
That's all.
But you know, I had one of my coworkers come over and his two daughters, and I have a stack of kid friendly comics, and I offered them one, and they said, what are comic books?
Hmm.
Could you believe that kids today, these young
Yeah.
whippersnappers, they don't even know
They,
what comic books are. And I
they
I
think the
blame
Marvel
Marvel.
universe started it all, huh?
Right now, Guardians of the Galaxy, a B-list team that nobody heard about, is making $1 billion in the movie theater, and kids don't even know what comic books are.
Yeah.
Marvel,
Unreal.
Marvel and DC dropped the ball. They dropped the
Yeah.
ball. So
A
so
long time ago, though. It's a long time coming. The books have been in danger for a while. As soon
yeah,
as the
well,
MCU started up.
yeah, I remember working in Manhattan, and there's a billboard for the Fantastic Four movie. Granted, it was a terrible movie, but I'm looking at a gigantic billboard of characters that I love in Times Square. Tours, and nobody's buying the comics.
Yeah.
How is this possible? This is the marketing execs really dropped the ball. You know, Joe Quesada should have been like, this is it. We just been handed the football. We got to get to the touchdown. Like, it doesn't matter. Knock people down, crush people. Break your teeth, whatever it takes to get over that finish line. We got to get comic books in the hands of people, and
Yeah.
it just shows that the higher ups just didn't care.
Yeah. Well, the digital wave kind of put a big damper into things. Like when you go to Comic Con and you see people talking about, oh, I got my Comicology passcode, and they're sitting there with their iPad, and I'm just like, but
Oh,
like I was saying about teaching my son, like when we break out a comic, like I I got the first, I forgot the number, but it's an Incredible Hulk first appearance of Groot. I found it in the dollar box the other day, and I'm like, do
oh
you
my!
see the value in this? I'm like, I picked it up and I smelled it. I'm like, smell that. And he's just like, I'm like, that is history right there. And you
You,
got
you,
to
you,
detect.
you saw my comic book room, right? You saw the video.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
got to. Yeah, Tony hasn't been to my new house yet. You got to come and bring your kids over and we'll take a stroll through my comic book room. You know,
Definitely.
you'll see a lot of hidden gems. Um, I dated a woman in Albuquerque, and she owned a comic book store, and she used to go like, "Oh, she goes, "You want to sell something?" And I'm like, "Where's this going? Where's this going?" And she takes me to the back room, and she just leaned her head back, and it was just boxes upon boxes, stacks of comics, and it was just old comic book smell. This old
Love
newsprint
it.
comic book smell. I was like, "Oh my god, it's glorious!"
Hmm.
It
It's
was.
glorious.
It is. It is. I love going. There's an old guy who just opened up a comic book store by me, and I spent all day just looking through it. And I guess he was just like, I'm going to make a customer for life. So he's like, "What are you looking for?" I was like, I don't have anything by the nom. I just have nom number one, and I want to get a. He gave me for $40, mint condition, first printing, 2 to 40.
What?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I was like, buddy, you got a
Right.
customer for life. That.
Right.
But
I'll be
you're
back.
right. I should have had it on Comixology on my phone, so I could. Yeah, I got.
Yeah.
You don't use Twitter too much, and I use Twitter to promote this channel. And
Hmm.
I just got into an argument. Yes, I'm the worst. My wife's like, "You're gonna get your Twitter canceled." But guy put I forgot what started it. He was talking about, and then I just posted, "How does this sell comics? How does this sell comics?" And they're like, "Well, I was like, that doesn't sell comics." I said, Jack Kirby said that his profession was to sell comics, not draw comics, not write comics. His profession was to sell comics. These guys understood that they had to make money, for a variety of reasons. They had bills to pay, they had children, they had houses, they were real people. Comic books today, that first of
Yeah.
all, none of them have kids, which, it's weird coming from me because I don't have kids. But so I just feel that they're not invested in a business, because as long as they got their top ramen, that they're happy. But
Right.
so Jack Kirby said, I sell comics. So this guy was like, "Yeah, well, you're just a tourist." So I put that picture of my comic book room up. And he goes, "Oh wow, look at you! You got a bunch of boxes." And I said, "Do you even know what these are?" And he, I said, "These are comic book boxes." So then I put a video. of going through. He goes, I'm not watching you. I said, you're the tourist here. You have no idea that those are comic book boxes. You don't even know what you're looking at. I said, because you have a comicology report with Squirrel Girl and Gwenpool, two characters that aren't characters. They're just like vanity projects, if you ask me. Well,
Hmm.
Squirrel Girl, I showed the video. It was made by Steve Ditko, but that was when Steve Ditko was the phoning in period.
Yeah, and I like Anna
But
Kendrick.
Whippersnappers, I see.
I like Anna Kendrick a lot, so I hope they make that movie. They're talking about making her into Squirrel Girl, so we'll
Oh,
see.
who
Hopefully it'll work out.
AT girl?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
The Squirrel Girl.
yeah, yeah. She's cute. She's cute when done right.
Right,
So I'm gonna go back to the comic. We don't
right.
need my face anymore. So we had the Silver Surfer, and this kind of bothered me a little bit, but I chalk it up to Silver Surfer being an alien. He says, "I need to talk to Reed, and rest of you leave." And she's like, "You could stay, Sue." So I need to talk to just
Right.
Reed, Sue, Johnny, and
Take
Ben. Take a hike.
take me to your leader. I want to
Yeah.
talk to the smart ones.
Oh, I didn't think of that. Yeah, there you go. It's an alien trope. You see, he's a good, and you could tell they're up. Something bad's happening, and then still this is like days later, and they're keeping Ben and Johnny out. Like, what is the purpose of that? I don't know. I hate when I'm excluded, so I kind of felt bad from Sue's crying.
Yeah,
Can't be good. Let's look at this glorious art, and this just goes to show that you could talk about anything as long as you make it super. Look at this great cityscape, and they're talking about what's going on. Why doesn't Reed trust us? Sue's crying in the kitchen. This is all normal stuff that you'd find
yeah,
through loss and tragedy, but they're doing it, through spectacular art. Look at this. I got to go faster, so we're not here all day long. But they're tested on the Silver Surfer. Reed basically says I can't do it. You know, and the basic premise of the comic I thought to be a little bit flawed in that. So Reed comes to the conclusion that the micro nanite technology, whatever, of Silver Surfer's uh, exoskeleton is breaking down and he's dying. And when he dies, it's going to be painful. He's basically going to go through aggressively fast, like dementia and Alzheimer's, and then die. So I agree with you, Tony, what you said. There's probably something going on. And I bet you he saw like a parent or a beloved uncle go through all this, which
hmm
to me is, I'm not afraid of muggers. I'm afraid of two things. I'm afraid of my house catching on fire, and I'm afraid of dementia. Those are the two.
yeah,
Everything else, I think I could deal with grace, But those two things. So here we got the obligatory origin of Nora. Look at that Galactus.
yeah.
Galactus. He's supposed to be regal. He's supposed to be
Grandiose.
grandiose. That's exactly the word. And here he is.
Mm.
He gives up his life to fight. I mean, not to fight, to be the herald. And I do like this because it was kind of like, is the Silver Surfer like around for 20 years? At his first appearance, how long was he? They're saying he was around for thousands of years, and he had no recollection. The Galactus was smart enough to erase Norrin Radd because he knew his couldn't deal with what he was doing. So I
Hmm.
like that. Yeah, it's hand waving absolution for Norrin Radd, but it kind of makes sense. Like, why would he go around and be like basically doom for all of these worlds if he knew what he was doing? But the way the humans looked and treated him reminded him of Zenla. And then the Saint Shalabah was so Zenla rather was so advanced that they expanded their lifespans. That's why they're around for so long. Makes sense to me. We're
Yeah,
talking about in the next 50 years, people are going to be immortal anyway. So why not Zenla? So now they're talking about all the battles, catching and stuff. And I love this. Galactus' ship is coming in, and I've never seen anybody draw it smoky on fire. It just looks like like a meteor of doom. It's just
right.
cool.
Just burning up the atmosphere as it
Yeah.
comes in.
And now he's realizing that it's coming to a close. It's all over. Like I said, the only thing that I to me, the Silver Surfer, like Galactus, doesn't make machines that fall apart. But
Hmm.
if you buy into that conceit, then the story is great. So right away I was like, nope, Silver Surfer's not gonna his machines are not
Yeah,
gonna down. But you know, it's the one thing you need to drive the story. So I'll
yeah.
suspend disbelief for that. Here I am
Right.
suspending disbelief that that the Silver.
Right, the Silver
Yeah,
Surfer. Right,
I
exactly.
got my priorities whacked, but
I feel like it's almost the same thing as the Logan movie. Not Old Man Logan, the comic, but the Logan movie where the adamantium is poisoning him and slowly killing him. It's like you have to pick something that's going to take Logan out.
right.
And
And you know
it's the
what?
same thing with the Silver Surfer. His
That,
exoskeleton is what's killing him.
that works. I thought it worked. Like,
Yeah.
and that because I know they brought that up in the comics before I quit X-Men, but that's the reason why they took Wolverine, and that's the reason why no, Department H never did it before. He's the only person who could survive. So then
Yeah.
when Magneto took out his exit, he was like super healer. You could like cut off his arm and like the Savage Dragon or Swamp Thing, you'd see it regenerating before your eyes. I thought
Hmm.
that was pretty cool. And then they put the adamantium back. I don't think I know that story where they put the adamantium back. To me that
Yeah.
you know you know whatever. So here he is coming to terms with the fact that he's going to die. He's saying thank you to everybody, and only Nornrad, this guy who's like, I'm trapped on Earth, on his knees, like screaming, like right now he like poised dignity, and he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna choose to make, because they told him he's got like 3 weeks to a month left. He goes,
Yeah.
gift. So he's like basically saying, I'm already dead, and now I'm just gonna enjoy my last time that I have left. And he's like, goodbye, my friends. You know, I'm gonna I'm gonna do a world tour on Earth, the world that gave me so much, and then I'm gonna go back to Zenla. I was born there. I'm gonna die there, and he's just flying off. You know, and here we got he's saying goodbye to everybody. I just think it's just so wonderful, beautiful artwork. Look at that. That could be like a print in your house, right? There he is, and now he's just like, my name is Norn Rad. Some of these panels I got to read. Wielder of the power cosmic, former herald of Galactus, devourer of worlds. I've traveled the galaxy, seen more than other eyes can hope to behold in 100 lifetimes, and I'm dying. You
Mm.
know that's like the big reveal. I spoiled it because I'm impatient, but I loved it. And then this, it's funny because I'm such a neurotic person. I'm like, why is Spider-Man's eyes black?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
it's
thought it was more of the Alex Ross-ish
yeah,
style.
it's just an artistic choice because they never brought up that here we got this wonderful cover. And again, Marvel doing the right thing, bringing you up to speed. Every comic's got to be somebody's first comic. I try to make it that my policy. Every video could be somebody's first video, so I don't. That's why I repeat a lot of things, because I feel like
Hmm.
I don't want people to be like, oh, it's a club that I'm not part of. So I love this. You know, Peter Parker. We all make mistakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like perfect Spider-Man. There's a truck into the building. Something happened. I goofed. One word balloon. One caption rather. I'm not going
Yep.
to go through the edits, credits. It's all the same people. Look at that panel. You know, every page. This artist, he got a page rate, and then I'm sure he sold all the original art for thousands. You know,
Yeah.
so good, so good. And here he's fighting like nobody special. It's just a guy in a mech suit. A
Yeah.
very mech suit. This,
Spider-Man just jobbing.
when you slab it, you don't get to see creepy things like this anymore. This ad is gone forever.
Hmm.
And believe it or not, I use that ad as a bad guy in my role playing game, my superhero role play. You got to come over and play superhero. Bring your kids. Oh my God! Do you think they could sit for like a superhero version of Dungeons and Dragons? We could make up a character.
Right now they're on Dinosaur Monopoly.
Oh, how old are they? This is bad. I don't even know the ages of my friends' kids.
Yeah, 6 and 4.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe another year or two. You
Yeah,
popcorn,
definitely.
make hamburgers. You come over. That will be so cute.
Just to see the house, they bug out. They go crazy.
Yeah, come over, see that one visit. It's going to be, because I know how kids are. They're going to be, and then another time we roll up characters and we play a superhero Dungeons and Dragons game. Like I'll make up like you know a 4-color adventure. That would be fun.
Let's do it. I'm with it.
Yeah, that would be fun. So here we got Silver Surfer just comes out, and I love this. What does the Silver Surfer do? He just points at this mech that's been giving Spider-Man trouble, and look at that, just a
Yeah.
smoking. How powerful is he? He's not
Power
powerful.
Cosmic.
Then we got this ad irrationally bothered me. This arm coming out. That was just a bad ad. And now they're on the rooftop. They're talking, and Silver Surfer's laying his cards on the table. He's telling them, you know, I'm dying. I want to say hello to this world, and well, actually, he doesn't. Spider-Man deduces when he sees
Yeah.
a floor over here, so he's anything I can do, and I like it. He actually gets a little angry, Silver Surfer. I guess denial, anger.
Hmm.
The stages of he gets a little angry right here. It's like why am I dying? And then he controls himself. I thought that was just a sign of a good writer.
Yeah.
And Peter Parker is talking to him about everything you mean to me, everything you've done, and he's like, "This is awesome." Silver Surfer says, "I want to give this world a gift before I go, and I don't know exactly what I can't leave until I come up with a gift." So Spider-Man says, and I don't know if he actually believes it or if he's like basically explaining to the Silver Surfer why you can't just conquer the world and give everybody utopia. So I think Pete's smart. He's a super
Yeah.
genius. We kind of forget about that. So he's talking like you could fix everything, use the power cosmic, get rid of all the bombs, make everybody united, get rid of the world governments. Basically, we got dictators over here. We got you could redistribute the food. You could do all of this, and then you could put all the politicians in the desert together to argue them out, and then Peter says, yeah, but then what happens 24 hours after I leave? You know,
Mm.
and he goes, the world economy will collapse because gold will be valueless. You know, if everybody's fed, everybody has more babies, and then 10 years from now, there's just more people to feed. And next thing you know, and so Silver Surfer's just like, yeah. So he kind of like talked himself out of it, or was he talking the Silver Surfer out? That I just think that's just brilliant. So
Yeah.
he just like he gives one parting gift, and like I said, I'm going fast because I'm already talking for 46 minutes, and I know you got stuff to do. And what does he do for like one brief moment? He just connects everybody. Like everybody is connected for 1 second. So like you could read minds. I don't know if you could read minds because that would drive me crazy if everybody could read my
I
mind.
think it just gave everybody a level of understanding and a
Yeah,
little bit
like
of
everybody
empathy.
second they like everybody like group hugged or something like that. And then he gives Mary. Yep, both taking out coffee. He gives Mary Jane, a joyride. He gives her a bit of the power cosmic, and he lets her fly around because Peter Parker says, I've already been to space. I
Yeah.
let Mary Jane see this. So, she comes back, she's changed. How cool would that be?
Again, selfless Parker, Parker, the true hero.
Yeah, yeah, he's
Hmm.
the definition of the word hero comes from Greek, people who are sacrificed to Hera. So
Mm.
somebody would be taken and basically sacrificed. This is like pre-Mycenaean Greece, and they would be like wined and dined, and then selflessly slaughtered and then their blood would go into the fields, and then their the crops would grow and everything. So hero implies sacrifice.
Mm.
People we forget that. RJ for the Fourth Age we'll talk about in depth for 16 40-minute videos, but that's my nutshell version. You got to be selfless. You have to sacrifice to be a hero. That's why Mary Sue's do not work, and that's why modern Marvel self-insert. These guys aren't. These guys. I'm ranting again. I tried to limit myself to one rant a video, but it's impossible.
That's why people tune in.
In the modern Marvel, these people are self-inserting themselves, and they're superheroes to be cool and fun. You know, what did Kamala Khan sacrifice to become a hero? And Sama Amanat even said it in her Vogue interview that she doesn't want the idea of pathos. She wants the idea of like inclusion. Well,
Hmm.
nobody becomes a superhero to be included. Most superheroes through an act of tragedy, or at least the ones that like Superman, his whole world died. Batman, his parents died. Spider-Man, his uncle died. The Fantastic Four, it was hubris that Reed Richards disfigured his buddy. You know what I mean? And that's
Hmm.
something that needs to be talked about. Norrin Rad gave up life on Paradise. He gave up life in heaven to
Yep.
to to become the angel of death. And then when he finally realized what he did, it drove him nuts. So you need loss. You need heroism. You need sacrifice to be a hero, or at least a superhero comic book. And Stan Lee knew that. Jack Kirby knew that. So here he is. This is where he gives everybody like the moment of clarity. Everybody on Earth, you know, gets
Hmm.
connected in some hippy dippy way, and then he reveals that he's Peter Parker, like Silver Surfer couldn't.
Right. That, as
Man,
if he didn't know.
and then he says goodbye and he flies off. And I love that. I love that he picked Peter Parker because to me, Peter Parker was designed to be the everyman.
Hmm.
And it was funny because by the time I got into Spider-Man, in the late '70s, he was already with like, Gwen Stacy was a supermodel, basically. Mary Jane was a supermodel. I'm like, he had a college scholarship. I'm like, he ain't the everyman anymore. But
Yeah.
but then
Every
again,
man, if every man was a super genius.
yeah. But then again, if you got spider powers swinging around, you'd have a good physique. If you once you beat Green Goblin 27 times, you're a little bit. You got swag and confidence, and that's
Seasoned.
yeah. Yeah. Here we got issue 3. This one is the most trippy one, if you ask me. So here we got this Spider-Man toy. You got kids. Are there still superhero toys in toy stores? I haven't been.
Yeah,
I
that's
haven't.
all there are.
Yeah, I remember.
Marketing, they everything is licensing,
Yeah,
superhero, everything now.
yeah. Do your kids have action figures and toys?
That's all there is.
Yeah.
There's not a moment of sports in this house watched. Everything is superheroes, and believe
Okay.
me.
Let me ask you. You have a boy and you have a girl, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Hmm.
Do they play differently?
Yes, definitely.
I'm not gonna pepper your mind with what the answer that I want. But how do they play?
Well, I mean, they both have incredible imagination.
Right,
You know
right.
what I
In
mean?
living
It's
in our
just,
house, it would be the
I,
opposite. I would be shocked if they didn't. Let me put it that way.
yeah, I'd say that my daughter is a lot more gentle. She likes there to not be conflict, and lines up her people, and then everybody gets along. Where my son is just like beating the mess out of his action figures, and the Hulk is just like stomping on people with the Hulk, and I'm just like, some of them I've had since I was a kid. I'm like, I've had that toy for 35, 40 years, and here you are. I'm like,
And
you know
back in
what?
5, 6 months of Tony Jr.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm reminded of Toy Story. Like, you know what? The Hulk wants to be played with. He doesn't want to sit on my shelf and collect dust.
It's a toy.
So,
It's a toy. Yeah.
and that's the difference. You know what I mean? Like, she's into princesses and things like that, and he's just super into like villainy. And it's weird. Like he's like he's more into like Juggernaut and like Abomination and like, yeah, he's just like, for some reason he's into villainy. I get, what am I gonna do? The heroes
Work
don't
over,
impress him.
work overtime and have a bail fund set up.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I got to show him the way.
Because the reason why I brought this up is I'm just switching the camera to the front while I'm talking. The reason why I brought this up is I heard Ethan Van Sciver say this, and I'm a cynic. Just because I like you doesn't mean I believe you. You know what I mean? So I
Hmm.
I went and I looked at the studies, and he's got a point. He says, and studies have backed it up. When boys play with toys, okay, so your son picks up the Hulk. In
Hmm.
your son's mind, he is the Hulk.
Hmm.
In Hulk smash and Hulk break things. When he picks up Spider-Man, he's Spider-Man. Spider-Man, does what Spider-Man does. But when your daughter picks up a toy, girls do. It's not better, it's not worse, but they put themselves on the toy. So when she picks up Wonder Woman or Hulk, whatever, Hulk wants to build a fence. Hulk wants his friends to come over and have a party.
Hmm.
That's not what Hulk wants. That's what you know. I'm embarrassed to admit I don't even know your daughter's name. That's what she wants.
Abigail.
Get with Abigail, right?
You know what's funny? My daughter's middle name is Imzadi, which is a Betazoid name for beloved between Troy and Riker.
It sounded familiar. There you go. And please tell me your son's middle name is Tiberius.
Nah, we didn't have that foresight, but that would have been hilarious.
But and you're and my friend Phil, he had twins, Philip and Olivia, and Phil is the most gentle, progressive. If everybody was a progressive the way Phil was a progressive, the world would be paradise. And he got rid of his TV. He didn't want to expose. It was almost like he was experimenting on his kids, which
Hmm.
and he bought toys on Christmas, and birthdays because they had the same birthday. They were twins, and just put them out there. He goes, the daughter ran to all the kitchen and baby stuff. The boy ran to trucks, and he's like, it's genetic, you know. You know, so I'm wondering, and this is going to sound mean, and I don't know other way. I'm not eloquent enough to say this in a nice way, but like with all of these new female writers, they're self inserts, and that they're putting their personality like into the comp. Like, you know, Anne Nesenti famously said that when she got she didn't want to be a secretary. She wanted to be a writer. So she purposely was bad at her job so that she would get promoted out. Everybody like, so she's like, so they gave her a shit assignment. And what was that assignment? To write Daredevil after Frank Miller. Nobody wanted it. You gonna
Yeah.
write Frank? You know, that's like your plays on next after Shakespeare, and you tap dance. You know what?
Right.
So, or you go up on your rap stage after I don't know what Tupac. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. You're following Eminem. Go ahead.
Yeah,
You're
go
up
ahead, go,
next.
go. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. What do you want? So you know, she said she studied. She went and took martial arts classes because she was like, I don't know how to fight. You know, and this is Daredevil. It's all about conflict, and she said she had to suppress the stories that she wanted to tell and tell Daredevil stories. And she went on writing classes. She said she got an apartment in Hell's Kitchen, and she would
Wow.
purposely go drink in bad bars, you know. And then she had a breakup with her boyfriend. It was a horrible boyfriend. You know, she was in her 20s. You know, we all know those years. And she used that in her stories of like the depression of pain. And I'm like, yeah, she did what a writer's supposed to do. I mean, yeah, it's comic books. It's not the all American novel, but this is a woman who she knew that this was out of her comfort zone, and she did the
Hmm.
work. And that's why everybody remembers Ann Nesenti's run with you know. And the running joke on this channel is, but there were no women in comics before 2006.
Yeah.
But there
And
were
you
plenty.
keep pointing it out, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Every time I point out a woman, I'm like, but she doesn't exist. But she took the job seriously. She understood, and it was funny because she was being interviewed by Sana Amanat, and she was telling all these stories. And Sana Amina was correcting Ann Nesenti about her own past. And she's like, yeah, but comics aren't about conflict. And she's like, yes, they're male adolescent power fantasies, you know. And
Right.
and she's like, well, not anymore. I'm like, and then you could just see Ann Nesenti's just like, you know, well, that's why they don't sell. And the thing is, Ann Nesenti is a super progressive, but she understood the business is to sell comics, you know.
Yep.
And now we have the Hellfire Gala every 3 months. You know, X-Men is just a fashion show. I love that. The Hellfire. That's another rant. The Hellfire Club is supposed to be a world dominating Jeffrey Epstein society. It's
Right. Yeah. The Illuminati.
rope you in, they compromise you, and then they blackmail you. But now Reed Richards and Peter Parker and everybody are tripping themselves to be seen at their fashion show. Every guys, you don't get comics. You fundamentally don't get comic books.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go back to the comic because we're going on an hour, and I know you got family stuff to do. All
Oh
right,
yeah. Kids never stop.
yeah. Oh, all right. So there we go. All right, glare because of the glossy paper, and so this to me is the trippiest one. So he's I'm gonna go quick because I spent so much time ranting and raving. So here he is. He's flying away, and Doctor Strange like in ghost form. And Silver Surfer's like, how do you know about this? He's like, what are you kidding me? You know,
Yeah.
that's our job. Xavier, Magneto, Doctor Doom, we all keep tabs on you. You know, like it. So he's saying goodbye to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is like, Galactus's power is beyond my sorcery, which I
Yeah.
kind of like. You know, Galactus is supposed to be beyond. So he's like, I can't help you, but I could give you this totem, and it's basically like a sum total of everybody that you've ever helped, which is everybody on the planet because he saved the Earth, you know. And he absorbs it. Now he gets like the warm fuzzies. You know, I'm dumbing it down because through time, and now he leaves the Earth. By the way, I did think that was brilliant that he left the Earth by not using his surfboard because he, you know, if you remember in his own comic. So here he
Hmm.
is. He's going through a cosmic battle, and these people sent out like when they detected the Silver Surfer, they sent out a beacon that basically annoyed him, so he had to go and investigate it. And we got two races.
Yeah.
It's a solar system with two planets that support life. You know, one of them is these creepy looking fish people, and the other one is these like I don't know, like snake people, and they're at eternal war. Why? Because they worship different gods. The fact that their gods allowed their planet to survive and vice versa was blasphemy to the other. So they were at war before they could even hurt each other. There was an arms race, a technology buildup, just so they could launch missiles at each other. That's it's I, it's not beyond belief. And each one built these temples to their prospective gods. And it was a blasphemy that these temples existed. So now representatives from both races are sitting talking with Silver Surfer, and they want the Silver Surfer to decide who gets destroyed. Like I said, this is the trippiest of the three issues. So they're talking about the arms race. I already spoke about it. How they knew it was their holy mission. So the whole planets of both cultures got together to build weapons of war so they could fight each other, because they knew that that's what the other side was doing. Nothing, and that's the Cold War. That one side's America, one side's the United States. But comic books have always been political.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. But writers had talent too. You know, you know, comic books were always political. Steve Englehart basically like talked about Richard Nixon as it happened live. Before most comic book fans were alive, but he was a great writer. He could do it. The Denny O'Neil Hard Traveling Heroes was very political, but that didn't age well. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Nah, I missed that run.
Green. Well, yeah, it was before you were born, probably, but it
Of
was
course.
Green Arrow and Green Lantern. And it famously had the black guy yelling at Green Lantern, "You've always helped the blue skins and the green skins, but what have you done for the brown skins?" And then Hal Jordan had
Mm.
head in shame. And if I wrote that comic book, I'd be like, "What did I do? I saved your life. This planet would be
Right. Yeah.
for me. I can't be out here like picketing in the streets. I understand that there's problems, but do you understand that the Thanos is trying to destroy the Earth? I've saved the Earth, and you don't even know about it. So say thank you and leave me alone. Go talk to another superhero." But
Yeah.
what do I know? I'm a crazy person. So he's investigating. He's flying around, and he just starts blowing up everything. He's not killing anybody because he's the Silver Surfer, but he's taking out their capacity for war. You know, and he just wrecks everything. I think he implies here in his anger that he does kill the representatives who are leading, but I don't know. They don't show him being saved, so I'm gonna say like this is a little bit of and I was gonna say uncharacteristic, but given the circumstances and the state of mind, I could see. So he just takes out the two worlds' ability to fight, start all over again. Don't ask me to get involved. I thought it was pretty poignant, and then he flies off. He's going to Zenla. Like I said, out of the four issues, and I went through it fast because we're going over an hour now. Sorry,
Hmm.
but any comments on that? I've been talking to the whole issue.
No, I thought it was great. I think that it gave him one last flex of his muscle. You know what I mean? Like everybody wants to see him just, go nuts one last time. And he did, the task in the most Silver Surfer way he could. It was almost like you know, what's the Shakespearean equivalent of taking all your toys away. That's it. You don't want
Yeah,
to play nice. That's it. Nobody's playing.
right.
You know what I mean? Just
And
straight
it
up.
also answered the question: why don't superheroes save the Earth that way? Why don't
Yeah.
And he's just like, "You want me to get involved? All right, I'm not.
Right.
I'll get involved, but it's not going to be the way you think. I'll I'll
I
I'll,
think
I'll take out all your toys and everything. Now get along." Like he didn't solve their problems. He
no.
just, he's forcing them to look at it in another way. You
I
know,
think the best part about that issue was the realization that the two leaders were fully aware that it was a stalemate. They were fully aware that it was what do they say, zugzwang, whatever move you make is going to be a loss. And
yeah.
the two leaders were at peace, and they were just letting things just roll, like forget about it. And
Well, that
so,
they knew it was so bad that they needed an outside force, and they went and got Silver Surfer to basically judge which god was better.
mhm,
So they knew their gods weren't who they thought they were. If they get the Silver Surfer, you know what I mean? Can you
mhm.
imagine a Muslim and a Christian, and they're going to turn around and they ask Spider-Man, "Who's the real
Yeah,
God?" You know what I
yeah,
mean?
exactly.
So unless you're full of crap, So I thought it was brilliant on so many levels, and that issue was great. And I thought it was the worst of the three, being
Mm,
relative, because that's how good I thought everything else was. Okay, so here we got. Here's that. This I saw this poster over Times Square, and
mhm.
nobody's buying comic books. And previously, you know, just gorgeous artwork. He's flying around. They're building up the tension because where is he going? He's going to to Zenla, his home, you know.
Hmm.
And oh, one thing I forgot to mention is Peter Parker asked him why the surfboard isn't it hokey? A
I was
question
going to
that
say that. I didn't want to run the story back. I was going to point that out.
yeah that to me that's only Spider-Man would ask that. You know, it was perfect.
Hmm.
And
And
he
but we all wanted to ask the same question.
right.
Spidey was just saying what's on our minds, you know.
I remember in second grade we were drawing superheroes, and I just drew a character with wings. I didn't even know if and whoever goes, oh, you drew the angel, and I was like, oh yeah, yeah, I drew the angel. You know, I,
Yeah.
I didn't know. And then he drew the Silver Surfer, and I was like, you made that up. And he's like, no, he's a Silver Surfer. I was like, that's the worst idea for a superhero ever. Like, you know,
Right. A surfboard, you know, like
you know,
crazy.
he's and this was pencil. So I was like, a
Hmm.
naked guy on a surfboard. That's not in comic books. You know,
Hmm.
and that,
He had a good answer though, you know, to be actually
right.
just
Exposed to
completely
space.
exposed.
He goes
Yeah.
because it's form over functionality. Like I'm on this board, so I'm outside experiencing. Like he says, he could feel like the particles of the atoms passing by him, and everything. He goes. Should I be in a spaceship trapped away? He goes. I might as well just be on a planet.
Yep.
You know. And I was like, okay, I'll buy that. You know, I'll just like that. To me, that was a moment when Dark Knight Returns, when the guy uses the Batman symbol to aim at and shoots Batman in the chest, and
Hmm.
find out it's armor plated.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he goes, yeah, I give them a target to aim to, you know, and I protect that. So I was like, okay, you know, and then to a certain extent, I forget who the writer was, but they were talking like, why does Power Girl have the hole, the peekaboo in her costume? You can see her boob,
Hmm.
and she's
Yeah.
like, she goes, because I don't. She goes, it's not a hole. She goes, it's not a costume design. It's a. I remove the Superman symbol and I'll put it there when I feel that I deserve it. She, you know, yeah,
Mm.
but it works for me. It'll distract me.
Yeah. Exactly.
So here we got. I always like the way he's Chalabella was drawn, and it's definitely an homage to John Buscema. I always get the names mixed up. You know, that's the John Buscema. Everybody had the wingtipped eyelashes, everything. John
Mm.
Buscema actually said that he regretted that he could never draw sexy women, and I'm like, John, have you seen your own artwork? Did you ever get the Silver Surfer run, the original one with John Buscema?
I have a few issues. Yeah, I don't have the whole run though.
Do you have the one with Mephisto when Mephisto tempts him?
Mm-mm.
Because Mephisto tempts him with three women. He's like, you could have anything. It's like reminiscent of the temptations of Jesus with Satan.
Yeah.
Like here, you miss Shalabel, I'll give you three Shalabels. And he summons these like I remember that was like the first time I was like, I gotta hide this comic book from my parents. I'm gonna put this under my bed. John drew like not just like sexy women, but they were like lusty women, like they
Yeah.
they did exactly what he wanted them to do. So to him say he can't draw sexy women, I guess he's just being humble, or sometimes we're our own worst critics.
Always.
So this I like because it's tying. There was a one-shot Silver Surfer comic, and I want to say it was John Byrne and Terry Austin, but I'm probably wrong. Where Silver Surfer goes back to Zenla, and it's destroyed. Galactus went and destroyed Zenla because you broke your promise. I'm going to go back to Zenla, and Shalabel and a couple of people were survived. And Silver Surfer gives her the power cosmic, and everywhere she walks, she repairs the planet. And they're keeping that continuity in here to the point where she's ready to give up her portion of power cosmic to help restore Norrin Rad. And he's like, do you understand what if you give up your power, do you understand what it'll do to us? And she's like, yeah, but Norrin will be alive, and he'll be able to
Mm.
help us again. And the politician's like, there's no guarantee. This is the known. You're gonna give up your power for the, and he just says, no, let me die. I saved you. He goes, because if I give up the power cosmic, you're going to go through what I'm going through. Maybe not now, but at some point. And it's very powerful. So here he is. He's laying in bed, and everybody on the planet. I guess they get social media on Zedla, but everybody on the planet is making a pilgrimage to say goodbye to him. And here he is. He's in pain. He's suffering. He basically has dementia. He has bouts of rage where he just starts screaming. You know,
Again, mimicking real life.
yeah,
What
yes,
That's what happens to dementia patients.
exactly. Which makes me, I didn't think of that. You pointed it out. That I bet you Michael, and I'm not going to say his last name because I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. J. Michael. I'm sure there was something going on in his life,
Hmm.
or has gone on in his life. This is, perfect example to me. Speculation, and you. that he's writing something that he knows. You know what I mean? This is too spot on. He's
Yeah.
deteriorating. He screams, he cries, he yells, and everybody comes in and shakes their hand, and he's still giving. I'm getting emotional just talking about it. He
Mm-hmm.
gives them a little dot on their hand. Could you see it on the camera? You know
Mm-hmm.
that whenever they're flying off the handle, the dot flashes to remind them calm down. So here's a guy fighting with his wife. The dot flashes. Basically, you're getting carried away, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, the Silver Surfer, you know, died for our sins." It's totally religious.
Oh yeah.
It's
I
basically.
mean, even the mark on the hand is almost like the stigmata.
Yeah, I was just you took the words right out of my mouth. And then here's the girl being nice, flashing some boobs over at Lauren. That'll help you.
Hey, he's on his way out.
But paradise. All the women. I love how all the men are bald and all the women are gorgeous. That's the future. There's the future. Bald men, sexy
Who
women.
needs hair?
Yeah. And then here he is over here freaking out. Like I said, this is something that gets to me. I've seen my my grandparents go through it. I saw my buddies' grandparents go through it. And I guess now start seeing parents go through it. And the next thing you know, I'll be going through it. So here's Galactus is showing up. He's like, I gotta go to him. I gotta fight. Look, the armor is breaking down. He can't even
Mm-hmm.
up without help, but he's still. I gotta save the day. I gotta save the day. And what do they do? They're literally carrying him to Galactus. And then when the conditions are too much for normal Zenlavians, who are more powerful than normal humans, he's crawling. So this is so religious. He's crawling basically to God.
Taking his cross up the hill.
Yeah, exactly. Good analogy. And here he is. He meets Galactus, and then Galactus, cruelly, if you ask me, watches all this because Galactus knows all, sees all, watches him crawl to him, and then levitates him up at the last minute. And he's like, "No, there's still more that I have to do." But you know, and Galactus, in a moment of mercy, and this is why one of the things this like totally invalidates Fantastic Four 162. Galactus is not a storm. A
Mm-hmm.
storm is mindless. It's nature. It's neutral. It's it just does what it does, and it without forethought or malice. But Galactus is like, I am gonna mark Zenla because of you. You were the only person that you were the noblest being in all the universe, and I'm gonna mark Zenla. Nobody will ever come here. Nobody will ever harm it. It's like it's got the opposite of that barrier.
Yeah.
Zenla will be the most protected world in the universe because of your sacrifice, and
Right.
then he dies in peace. That's the
And now
only.
Galactus could call Zenla home. It's a place that he could have a home base now.
Yeah, it's the ultimate sacrifice through a roundabout way. He did give his life for the planet. It's a finishing off the story that started in 1965. And
Mm-hmm.
she yells at Galactus. He goes, make your and you know Galactus's ship. What did she, I forget what she did. She's
She asked him to, she goes, I have one last request of somebody that was my love and your herald. And he goes, yeah, name it, anything. And she whispers in his ear what she wants. And on the last page, you see what happened.
yeah. I kind of forget what happened.
Well, she turned him into a nebula.
Oh, that's
And
right.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So he took his body and it's a star.
Mm-hmm.
He turned it into a dwarf silver white star. So now Shalabah has two stars, and one's called Norrin Rad, and that's like a further
Mm-hmm.
reminder of the noble sacrifice of what Norrin did. I'm like getting emotional thinking about it. Such a
Yeah.
good story. You picked two good comics for me to talk about on my comic. Fantastic Four 162 and or 262. I forget what the number was.
Mm-hmm.
Or once I forget. Yeah, 162. Doesn't matter. And then this awesome comic. I do not have any recollection of this coming out. I don't know why I missed it. And at 2007, I was spending way too much money on comics, so I don't know how I even bypassed this.
Well,
This
I'm just glad that I got to show you a piece of the corner of the world that you didn't know about, man. And I
yeah,
appreciate
I,
you going through it with me.
I know a lot about comics. I'll say I'll know more than most, but I don't know everything. This was excellent. Thank you for recommending it. I really
Yeah, man.
enjoyed it. I'm sure this is collected, guys, who just want to read it in a trade paperback. I
Yeah,
like
definitely is.
floppies. If those of you who joined in late, we talked about CGC and comics. I like to get the floppies. I get the letters page. I get the ads. I want to get the full comic book experience. When I read comics, I'll only get a trade paperback. If my if it's a $10,000 comic book and I don't want to keep touching it.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I wanted to finish a thought that we would talk about CGC at the beginning. Like, I know I'm a hypocrite. I'm going to turn the camera around. I know I'm a hypocrite because I keep talking about what am I going to do with my comics, you know, and I always said when I retire, that's going to be my job. I'm going to sell comics, on eBay or whatever. And a friend of mine was like, "Are you going to CGC them?" And I'm like, first off, I don't trust putting Fantastic Four #1 in the mail and sending it to Florida, and then 6 months later it comes back. I just don't trust it. But if there's ever a convention and they're in town, I might take key issues and do it. Yes, I know I'm a hypocrite because this is like retirement. You know what I mean?
Listen, if you had the Mona Lisa, you're not going to just break it out. You know what I mean? We're
Right,
not
but
talking about any like just a few of the Grail pieces.
yeah, well, it would be unaffordable to CGC 55,000 comics. You know what I mean?
That's yeah.
And then nobody wants DP7 #3 CGC. So that's just a waste of money.
Also, it's a grading based on one company. You know, if
Right.
comic book grading company goes under, you know what I mean? Like I got right here, and speaking of beating the curb, I got Luke Cage #1 right before the show hit Netflix
Oh, good.
because I
Yeah.
was trying to get ahead of the bell curve, but I got
I
a 7.5 on this one, and it's just like if CGC goes under, what does this mean? It's like
it's for speculators. It's
right.
people that aren't really into like diversity in comics. Your boy Zach, he always says it's for divorced dentists with too much money on their hand. They're gonna they liked comic books and then they're gonna sell it at a profit.
Hmm.
I just want to address Michael Williams says, "Isn't Spider-Man Jewish? Spider-Man is Protestant. Spider-Man is Protestant. He wasn't Jewish. Ben Grimm, as far as I know, was the first Jewish superhero. I'm sure maybe in the Golden Age there was, but Ben Grimm was Jack Kirby, and Peter Parker was Steve Ditko, who grew up some sort of, I don't know what flavor, but some sort of Protestant, from a nice Protestant kid from Flushing. Kitty Pryde, I think, was the second Jewish superhero that I could name without doing any research. Um,
Magneto considered. I mean, he's not a hero, but he's definitely Jewish.
who?
Magneto, Eric
Oh,
Lenstra.
yeah, yeah, Magneto. Yeah.
They used to call him Magnus Magnuson or whatever his
Yeah.
name. I hated that name, but
Well, it makes sense. That's probably what he called people because he didn't want people to know who he was. The guy was a
yeah,
bank robbing murderer. You know what I mean? You don't go around
yeah.
telling people his name. So Magnus fit. Yeah, and I always knew Magnus was a secondary fake name.
Hmm.
And then didn't they also they said he was Jewish, but then all of a sudden they said that he was like some sort of like Nordic background too. Magneto, they kind of
Uh,
never stopped playing with the toys to the point like leave the cake. The cake is ready. You don't keep putting ingredients in
yeah,
there.
they keep retconning it, where I think in the beginning he was Norse with the whole like Eric Erik,
Yeah,
was his name, and then when they started digging back into his background and going into the whole Auschwitz thing
that was
and
brilliant.
yeah, it's a great run. I got the whole Magneto
Yeah,
run. It's terrific.
I
But I
used
think that's when they really started digging into his history and who he was.
yeah, and that to me like I use this word. I think I use it differently, but like iconic to me,
Hmm.
iconic is when it's like the stars are aligned, things are set, and your grandmother knows about it.
Hmm.
Spider-Man's costume is iconic. Like they always mess with it, but they always come back to the classic. That's a Marvel comic. That's an all comic book thing. They kind of shake the basket up a little bit, and then bring it back to normal. Like that's just a sales gimmick. But
Hmm.
Magneto, he's a Jewish, Holocaust survivor, because it makes perfect sense. It's now he's becoming what he hates. Battle not with monsters. Yes, he become a monster. Yet
Hmm.
he is that. That is brilliant. That's almost Shakespeare. That's well, maybe it is Shakespeare. Comic books could be modern Shakespeare. Shakespeare was for
Absolutely.
low-brow people. We always forget.
Hmm.
it was for the masses until what Queen Elizabeth really liked it. Whatever. I'm sure Shakespeare people are grinding their teeth. You're an idiot. Yes,
Yeah,
but
they recognize.
but I don't know. Once something becomes set in stone, don't mess with it. And unless you have a 30-year love of comic books, you don't get to change any. You could write Spider-Man saves people at the bank, but you don't get to come from YA authors, never read a comic book, and then change Magneto,
Yeah.
or you don't have the right. And yeah, I look at this current crop of comic book writers. I'm like, oh yeah, show me your collection. Don't show me an iPhone. Don't show me a comiXology account. Show me your comic book collection. You want to impress me? Show me long boxes filled with comics. And
Hmm.
I'm an idiot, right? Michael Williams says, and lest I sound like a snob, which I admit I am, he has the trade paperbacks because he couldn't find the individual issues. That's fine. I got no problems with that. A lot of comic books are expensive, and back issues are even more expensive. And then, you know, tip that I think trade paperbacks do a great job of giving the customer a good self-contained story in one easy to find package that's reprinted so the prices are low. That's exactly what it's supposed to be. I have trade paperbacks of comics that I have just because they're more convenient to read. Sometimes I'll lend them out to people and I don't care if they come back, but I'm not lending you my Fantastic 450. But if you want to, the origins of Doctor Strange or Doctor Strange, I meant to say Galactus,
Hmm.
there's ways around it, but and I don't even begrudge a person who has a full shelf of trade paperbacks. But you know, and you know what? I'll even be a hypocrite and say if you really do have a comiXology report, but you read the comics and you know all the characters and you get excited to talk about them. I'm not even gonna, it's the love of the medium. But to me, physical floppy comic books are the pinnacle. Everything else, falls from that.
Yeah, it's just purity.
Yeah.
It's the pure art form, you know.
So Tony, for those of you who don't know, he sings rap. He does rap. So you hit Sunday Gravy. He started the great debate: is gravy meat based or is everything gravy?
Yeah, man.
Let me ask you, what is like if somebody says they're a rap fan,
Hmm.
like what is the snobby elitist way to prove that you're a rap fan? Just like I'm snotty elitist, show me your comic book collections. Well, I'm not a rap fan. I probably have like one Run DMC record. So I
That's
don't.
funny. I just took class with DMC
Oh,
2 days ago. Yeah, it's a evolution of rhyme class where we spoke about the evolution of rap music from 1979 till today. And D is a really cool person, man. He's very humble, down to earth, and to be able to speak to a legend like that is crazy. And
I, my only encounter with him is I went to go see the Beastie Boys at a oh man, now I can't remember what Studio 54 I think it was, and De,
classic.
De La Soul opened for him. It was and there was another band an actual punk band that opened up, and then De La Soul, and then the Beastie Boys, and Run DMC. I didn't even realize I was standing next to him. I'm not a big rap
Yeah,
fan.
he's an everyman. Yeah, definitely.
He was standing right next to me, and he dropped his gold chain fell off,
But
and he yells, "Everybody clear out! I gotta find my gold!" And I'm just you know so he physically pushed me, and it felt like I got hit by a truck. I went
he's a
flying,
big dude.
and I'm goofy. I was probably smoking something I shouldn't have been smoking. You know what I mean?
Eh,
And I was just like,
what do you mean shouldn't? It's 2023. There's no shouldn't.
and that was I joked. I was like, here's my rap lyrics: Run D, uh, uh, Jam Master. Oh, I'm wrong. It was Jam Master.
Run
Jam
DMC
Master
is
Jay
Jam
pushed me away.
Master J.
So that was the beginning to my rap. Jam Master Jay pushed me away, but it was really DMC, but it didn't fit.
Nice.
I've never claimed to be a good rapper. So Mike Williams says, "What is CGC? Do you want to take this one, Tony?"
Yeah, CGC is a company that, like John said, based in Florida. It stands for Comic Book Grading Company, I think. I think the last C stands for company or comic book grading something.
Yeah,
And
this company.
yeah, and you send in your comic, and they supposedly go through it with a magnifying glass and white gloves and look for imperfections and let you know what state the comic is in, and then they grade it. Like, for instance, my CGC graded Fantastic Four number 48. Coming of Galactus. Could you see that? Am I even holding that right, or is
Yeah,
it
all
the
I see is
glare?
yeah. So tilted a
Yeah,
little. Yeah, there you
hold it
go.
like that.
There you go.
Yeah. So they gave me a 4.5 rating because it has off-white pages,
Okay.
and the corners are a little bit frayed, and there's a little bit, you could be missing a staple, but you have
Yeah.
the and
It's
back
very rare
cover.
to get a 10. 10 is the highest you can get. A 10.0 is literal perfection. And
Yeah.
I I I could only remember seeing like one or two actual 10s. They do the same thing with baseball cards. You know, believe it or not, they do it with VHS tapes now. There's a
Oh
company that
yeah.
led a VHS. You know, so if you want to get your Harry and the Hendersons graded,
Yeah. So you get this stamp, this reflector that is supposed to let you know that this is genuine and not just some guy that put a piece of
right?
plastic on a
You
comic book.
haven't tried to open one of those, have you?
I have not.
Oh, it
I
is.
want to because my hold on.
Well, Tony's over there getting some. I went on eBay and I got Captain. I got Avengers #4, which was the first Captain America in the Avengers, and I
Mhm.
didn't realize it was PG. It was 8.0, and I took out a pocket knife and I cracked that thing open because I had to read it. I had to look at the edge. I wanted to see who's let it. That was like 20 years ago. If I had a camera, I would have filmed myself opening it. Yeah. And
Got to do
I
it.
got some accidental CGCs. I think I'm going to open them on a video one day.
Hey man, if you want to do it, I'll pick one up and I'll crack one open. But we got so for my Luke Cage Hero for Hire, they misboarded it. They called it Incredible Hulk 131.
Oh wow!
I'm 141, and they
Oh,
gave it a nice.
means it's even more valuable. Quicker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's totally mislabeled. So CGC, the company whose sole purpose
Is to
is to label it correctly and tell you what it is, mislabeled it. So
yeah
it's weird. But yeah, that's what CGC is in a
yeah.
long-winded answer.
Is it a scam? I don't think it's a scam. I think it serves a purpose. Like if you know what you're buying, this company's reputation is on the line. So there's been rumors that you could bribe them to get a higher. Do I know? I don't know. I'm not there, but I understand why people do it. I understand why people pay for it. How much did you pay? Did you got that done?
No, no, I haven't. I've never paid to have anything
Oh, okay.
graded. I've always bought things that are already graded.
Yeah, because I wonder how much it costs because I would have to like take even to do the key comics. I even if it's what
Like you said, I'm not mailing anything.
yeah
There's no way.
come to New York or I would have to drive down there with a couple of boxes. But I'm not mailing Fantastic Four #1 to or X-Men #1 to these people or anybody. It's not leaving my hand. But at the same time, it's like does it be eating dog food out of a can when I'm retired? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I mean, but it's basically like the stock market, the CGC, but like let's just say that's Nasdaq. You know what I mean? So that's what CGC values their comic. If they have another market, like let's just say come out with CGM, comic grading MFers, you know what I mean? And they might value your book as something different. So you could have the Nasdaq and the other one. You know what I mean? It's basically the value is in the eyes of the
right.
beholder.
It's they're saying it's this, and so what you're doing is you're buying somebody's pedigree, you're buying somebody's reputation, you're
Yeah.
turning your comic book into a commodity because it's not a. I understand some people like having a box full of those plastic slabs and stuff, but to me, a comic book is supposed to be. It's like having an action figure mint in a box. Like you said, Hulk wants to be played with. And,
Yeah, definitely.
and here I am right here. I got Surtur right here in the box.
Yeah,
But
nice.
but I will. The problem is I got nowhere to put it. I got to put up shelves. But believe me, it's going to be opened as soon as I can.
Nice.
All right, I got to go. I got friends that have an outlet that needs to be repaired. So
Yes,
I
sir.
don't know what I'm going to be in for. I might be there all day long. I might be there 20 minutes.
That's
But
why I don't do side work.
yeah, I know that when I moved out here, well, I'm doing it for Fred. I'm not asking money for it. I think they're going to cook.
Even worse.
But I know you do side work. We'll marry them. I I told all my neighbors that I'm an iron worker.
Yeah,
Nobody
right.
knows work in the neighborhood.
Awesome.
All
Well,
right.
man, thanks for having me on.
Oh,
John's Long Box is has become my favorite channel. I
oh,
watch all
thank
of them.
you. Give
Definitely.
shout out. Where can we find your music?
Right now, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, anywhere that you can stream music and download it. I have a couple singles. I have
And
Sunday Gravy, which is my favorite song that I did. I have Gritty, which is another more hardcore rap song.
okay,
I have a song called Protect Your Seed. Just check me out, or go to YouTube and type in Tony Dimes, and a whole
okay.
bunch of my stuff will pop up.
Is your the stage name that you use? That's how you can find them. Cool.
Yep.
I at work we had a guy listening to a rap. He was sitting down testing. He was working. I don't know if you know Johnny Bear, but he was working with Johnny Bear testing,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
he was blasting music. So I told him about you. I said, "Listen to Sunday Gravy," and he goes, "Is it good?" I go, "Of course I'm going to say it's good. He's my buddy." So I was going through and I came back a couple of days later and he's like, "Yeah, man, I got him on my list now."
Nice. Awesome.
So there.
Nice.
All right, thank you everybody, and I
Yes,
know
sir.
at noon, and I got to do something at noon. So thanks everybody. Next week I'm going to do the sun. I almost said Sunday Gravy. Next week I'm going
Ah.
to do Sunday Comics, but I'm going to do Avengers 200. I was supposed to do it this week, but Tony asked to do this, and life gets in the way. This was the only time we could do it. So thanks a
Thanks for
lot.
having me, man.
See you tomorrow with a normal video. This Wednesday at 7 p.m. I'm going to have the people from Heroinberg. I always say that wrong. They're a group of people that make movies, dress up, make their own costumes, make scripted. They have and make comics and movies. This should be exciting. This should be fun. All right. So see you everybody. Bye. Guys, take us out, Tony.
All right. Thanks for having me. And go check me out. YouTube. Go check out John's Longbox. Excellent channel.
All right. Thanks a lot. Bye, everybody.
Later.